Hello again, everybody. Welcome back to HemingwayLand.com, your source for quality, affordable land in the state of New Mexico. So today we have 4 new properties going live in the Timberon subdivision. This is a region where we have in the past listed and sold about, I'm going to say 3 dozen properties, which means at this point I have created roughly about 3 dozen property-specific videos in the region. So at the risk of not wanting to repeat myself, I figured we would make one video tonight. We would post it on these 4 listing pages, as well as 2 Timberon properties that we already have on the website, have had up for about a month. And the video is really going to be more about the subdivision itself rather than property specific. Now, of course, for property specific notes, guys, they're always included on each of these individual pages. This will dig into more the specifics of these individual lots. I would encourage you guys, however, that for the very first time, we're adding a Timberon master list. It's one of these spreadsheets that we do with subdivisions. This, of course, is small because we only have 6 properties right now, and we chose to, leave out the ones we've sold in the past. Whatever the case, if you are looking seriously at buying property in this region and you want to kind of quickly compare and contrast all of our listings against each other without having to kind of click around listing page to listing page, the easiest way to do it is through the spreadsheet. On here, we've got some helpful information, most notably column here with the GPS coordinates. Click any one of these. It's going to bring the property up on Google Maps. You've got the plat map column. It is exactly what it says it is. It's going to give you the plat map of the property, size, shape, location, dimensions, general footprint of the land. We've got the acreage column here, which will show you how big or small the lot or combination of lots is. And then we've got 4 columns here, which we don't have on most of our spreadsheets. These are the road conditions, the terrain of the property, the power situation, and the water situation. Now, I'll talk more about the water situation a little bit later, but the power situation is obviously, is it at the lot line? Is it 500 feet away? Is it so far you're going to need solar? So on and so forth. And of course, the road conditions and the terrain should be self-explanatory. Additionally, guys, the sale price column, the column over here where you can buy the property. But most importantly, we've got this column over here, the reference number column. When you find 1 or 2 that interest you and you really want to dig into the details on those, I'd encourage you to come over here, click any one of these links, and it will take you to that respective listing page. And on that page, you're going to see all this information reiterated and expanded upon. Most notably, of course, the photos that we have from the properties will be included down here at the bottom of the page. We've got some community photos from Timberon itself, and then we've always got property-specific photos. And in addition, guys, we've also got 2 drone videos down here, which will give you an excellent sense of the sort of the terrain, the surroundings of this pretty picturesque region. So with all that said, let's start by bringing this up on a map and just talk about where this subdivision is and why people like it so much. So the North Star of New Mexico geography is, of course, Albuquerque up here in the north central part of the state. I have found that people who know nothing about New Mexico at least know where Albuquerque is. This property is nowhere close to Albuquerque, guys. It's about 300 some miles south down here in Otero County. Otero is a kind of square-like county that has Texas bordering it to the south. If you're talking about major cities closest to the property, you've got El Paso down here in Texas, which is about 2 hours and 45 minutes away. You've got Las Cruces, which is, I think, the 2nd or 3rd largest city in the state of New Mexico, which is about 2.5 hours away from the subject property. And most notably, of course, Alamogordo. Alamogordo is the closest major city. It's got about 30,000 people living in it. That's where you're going to find the big box stores like Walmart, Home Depot, so on and so forth, any kind of fast food restaurant, as well as some, general bars and restaurants and nightlife. Alamogordo is about 40 miles away, but it's about an hour-and-a-half drive time when you snake, up and around through the mountains. So Alamogordo about an hour-and-a-half away. Cloudcroft is about 30 to 40 minutes away. That's where you'll find some grocery stores, some supply stores. Now, it should be noted, of course, that Timberon has its own its own supply stores, a little bit less so than these other towns, but there are amenities within the immediate vicinity of all of these Timberon properties. Now, I just want to note, guys, this giant splotch of green on the map is, of course, the Lincoln National Forest. Timberon sits down here just at the southern end of Lincoln National Forest in the picturesque Sacramento Mountains region. So, the area that you see carved out here on the map, this is the Timberon subdivision. This is a subdivision that has existed in some form or another for about 70 years now, I believe, dating back to a rancher who kind of owned all this land and started subdividing at the time, and then different family members inherited it, and they sold it to a developer, and so on and so forth. But it's been built up a lot over the last few decades, and one of the nice things about this subdivision is that it's one of the few that we encounter where developer comes in, builds it up a little bit, and then creates a kind of presence there. Let's say like a property owners association. Now, nothing strict, nothing all too formal, but a group of individuals who live in the community who care about the community. And so they bother to try and build it up over the years. And by build it up, we mean, build it up with utilities, kind of take care of the roads, make sure it's a place that people can actually live if they want to live there, as well as build it up by attracting business and industry and just kind of creating things like parks and attractions within the area. So if you look at the map here, you'll see some of these things are already highlighted on it. Most notably, you've got a post office up here. You've got the Timberon Volunteer Fire Department up here. You've got... Every time I highlight something, a thing is going to pop up on the map. It's very frustrating. Anyway, you've got also the Timberon Airstrip up here. You've got a lot of small planes and helicopters that land in this area, but not so much that it's distracting to people who live there or a real kind of nuisance to people who live out there. Additionally, over here, guys, you've got the golf course is in this region. You've got the pool. You've got the little lake that's out here. You've got the park that's out here. There are 3 restaurants in this area. They are, as you can see, the High Country Lounge and Grill is one of them. There's Connie's Corner Deli, and there's Del Corazon, which is also in this region. I'm not sure if I pronounced that correctly, but you get the point. The point is that it's built up a little bit, and if you do live out here, and if you zoom in on the map, you can see that there are people living out here. Here's a home, here's a home, here's a home. But if you do live out here and you're enjoying this area, it's not something where you're going to have to drive 40 minutes to buy a loaf of bread. That's my point. That's the whole point of me telling you all this, which is that this is a nice community out here where they have built up some of these amenities for you. Now, it should be noted that Timberon has utilities going throughout the subdivision. I don't want to make it sound like they're on every road, but they are located in most parts of the region. Additionally, the Timberon Development Council is sort of the property owners association that manages the area. There's also a Timberon Water and Sanitation District, and they are, and this is one of the big appeals of this area, they are the group that is responsible for putting water lines down throughout the area. And so you will find, now, again, not every road in the area has water lines. But a lot of roads do. And particularly when you see a lot of homes built up in one specific area, you can pretty much assume that there are water lines servicing those roads in that region. Water and sanitation lines. And by the way, those make a big difference if you're going to build on a property smaller than 3/4 of an acre, or if you're looking to just sort of come out here and RV and camp. This is a good area for RVing and camping, but you could do it for different periods of time depending on if the lot that you have has access to those aforementioned water and sanitation lines. And just very quickly, it's like 30 days RV camping if it doesn't, and it's like 180 days if it does have those features. So if you are hooked up to those things, you can stay for half a year. If you're not, there's a good amount of RV community business that has been built up just outside of Timberon. I think there's a lot of people who come out here, they might use one of those lots that doesn't have those services, those water sanitation services, for about 30 days, then kind of relocate to the park for a week, and then come back and do another 30. There are people who do that. So anyway, with all that said, let me just pull up some photos here, guys. As noted, we get photos taken from all of our properties, and Timberon is no exception. Down here in each of the photo galleries, we've of course got the sort of local color photos that demonstrate what the region is like. This is the aforementioned Development Council offices, essentially the Property Owners Association. And the nearby post office, and of course the aforementioned Connie's and the aforementioned golf course, so on and so forth. And after you get through these, then you get into some of the property-specific photos. I should have you guys know, the roads out here break down into 2 different types. Some are county maintained. Most are maintained by Timberon itself. They collect nominal ticky-tack dues each year, about $30. On the low end if you're not hooked up to water. So if you just own a vacant piece of land, you're only going to be paying about $30 a year, but that helps go to maintain the roads. Point being, the specific property that I'm looking at here, this one has really good, really accessible roads. That's not always the case with some of these. This one, obviously, any vehicle can drive on this and get out there. A lot of these, however, you will need a 4-wheel drive, a larger truck, an off-road capable vehicle. And oh, by the way, guys, in our helpful spreadsheet under road, we have notes on each of these. So where it says gravel roads, larger truck or off-road capable vehicle recommended. If you just sort of hover the cursor over those highlighted cells, you'll see our notes on that. Or just refer to those exact listing pages, and we will also have those notes reiterated there. Whatever the case, with the exception of the underground utilities, these photos are fairly representative of what a lot of the lots look like out here. This is a densely forested area. Some lots have more cutout regions on them, easier to park, easier to camp, easier to build on. Others not so much. Others are just wall-to-wall trees. So if that's something you're concerned about, that may be part of your kind of shopping around, comparing and contrasting lots. This lot that we're looking at specifically does have some good cutout regions, pretty flat land, easy to build on, particularly with the amenities that are there, particularly with those underground utilities. Yeah. Anyway, but as you go through these, you'll get a sense of not only the property, but the surroundings. And of course, very helpfully, we also have the drone videos down here, which will further expand upon that. Now, let's talk a little bit more about this Property Owners Association, about Timberon itself. So if you come up here in the table, and these links are also reiterated in our property-specific notes, there's the Timberon Development Council, there's the Timberon Water and Sanitation District, and then we have this FAQ. Now, if you click any one of these, it's going to take you to their respective websites. In fact, let's just go back here. One of the nice things about Timberon, what we don't see with a lot of developments like this, is if they have any online presence at all, it's very minor. Good luck getting anyone on the phone. Good luck learning anything about them by reading their website. Timberon is the opposite of that. It's actually a very informative website, which will really give you a lot of insights into not only the community, into what amenities are available to you out there, but also into just kind of how to build on land out there. Practically speaking, they have recommendations for different, companies, different builders out there, but they also have not so much recommendations, but they also have sort of, the lowdown on utilities, about who you're talking about getting utilities installed, how exactly the water and sanitation features work, so on and so forth. A lot of times on our website, we'll write property-specific frequently asked questions. If we did it for Timberon, we would only be basically repeating everything that's written right here. I'd encourage you guys, if this is a region that you're interested in, check out their website, check out their FAQ. I doubt there's anything you're going to come up with to ask that's not going to be discussed here. This is pretty comprehensive. I mean, look at this. How is trash waste handled? It's maintained by the Timberon Water Sanitation District, and the fees are included in your monthly bill for water and trash. So on and so forth. I mean, just a lot of great information that you can glean from this. Additionally, guys, the Timberon Water and Sanitation District website, when we start to talk about utilities in this region, as noted earlier, one of the things that makes this region so special is that they do actually have water lines. They've outfitted it. And as we've discussed in videos before, if you have a property that's under 3/4 of an acre, which I believe one of the properties we have right now in inventory is, it's long story. We'll keep it short. It's not considered buildable, quote unquote, unless you have, city water, city sewer lines. Because Timberon can provide that, it helps make a lot of those lots buildable. Now, of course, let's be clear. There's 3 types of lots in Timberon, and we actually have this kind of enumerated here in the spreadsheet. We reiterated on the listing pages. But for water services, water and septic service, there's no service lots, ones that are not serviced by the Water and Sanitation District. They don't have any, corresponding water lines on that road. There are the standby lots, which do have the water and sanitation lines on that road, but there's no meter hooked up on the property. And then, of course, the metered lots, which are ones where the lines are in the area and there's an actual meter on the property. We have had those in the past. We sell out of those really fast. Obviously, that's a big benefit. Practically speaking, the difference between those two is a $675 installation fee. So if you buy a standby lot and you want to get it metered, you're going to pay about $675 to have that hooked up. But honestly, it's going to afford you so much more opportunity with how long you can camp, how long you can park, how long you can stay, how much easier it becomes to build an actual structure on the lot, that the $675, I believe, is a very affordable, ultimately nominal fee for all that you're getting for it. Now, of course, with each of these different types of lots comes different types of fees that you pay throughout the year, from like $30 on the low end to, higher end installation fees and then maintenance fees. For specific questions about that, or if, for instance, you really like this lot, but you're curious about the no service thing and you want to call and ask them, when will this lot ever have service? Are you guys working on that? Is that something that will happen in the next 12 months? Are there any plans for that? Those are obviously questions best addressed to the Water and Sanitation District. And additionally, they can also inform you better about septic systems, about what kind of septic systems you can install on the property. If you have something that's over 3/4 of an acre, which is pretty much everything that we have here except this property, then, you know, a conventional system will work just fine. But if you have something that is, you know, under that threshold, then they recommend different things. You know, typically I've heard about ET beds. I've heard about split flow systems, advanced treatment units. Those are the kinds of things they use on properties that are under that threshold. And honestly, a lot of that stuff is enumerated here on their website. So again, this is an excellent thing to explore. Finally, guys, when it comes to utilities, when we talk about, you know, getting power hooked up out there, the Otero County Electric Co-op, if you click this link, it'll take you to their website. You can read more about that, specifically if you're a new construction in that region. The thing that we have heard in the past, not only from people who've built out there, but from realtors who kind of have a lot of properties in that area or homes in that area, is that the local power company will come out and hook you up for free if the property you're building has a foundation. If no foundation, the charge is typically $2,800 for 2 power poles. So, you know, a good question to ask in advance might be, okay, 2 power poles, but how far are you extending power? How much cable are you actually running? Is it 500 feet? Is it 1,000 feet? And what if I want to get something run 1,000 feet? How many power poles am I paying for then? So on and so forth. But reaching out to an organization like the Electric Co-op, which of course we also have linked up here, they can help answer those questions. You call, you have a conversation with them, say, hey, I'm looking to buy some land in Timberon. I know you've got power fairly close to my lot, but it's either not at the property line or maybe it is, or so on and so forth. You can ask those questions about logistics and about cost. Always good to ask before you buy a property, whether it's from us or anybody else. Get a good sense of that. Anyway, guys, I will have you know that of the 6 properties that we currently have listed on the website, 4 of them we've closed through Pioneer Abstract and Title. If you're interested in ones that we have previously gotten title insurance on that we're going to provide a warranty deed on, just check our property specific notes. It will indicate it down here if we have done that. Whatever the case, the specific property I'm looking at right here has that advantage, so we will be providing a warranty deed on it. If you aren't interested in purchasing it, guys, you can purchase through the spreadsheet. Just come over here, click any one of the Buy Now links. Or, as always, go to the listing page, click the Buy Now button, and it will take you to a secure checkout. This is one of these where we ask for the full purchase price up front. So you give us legal name for deed, email, tax address, where's Otero County going to send the yearly tax bill, agree to the terms of service, and on the next page, you can enter credit or debit card information to purchase the property outright for, in this specific instance, $2,650. Of course, these prices do fluctuate based on the amenities that the property has and, of course, the size of the property. The way, guys, that this works is that within 24 hours, we're going to have documentation to you in an email, new deed, plus some supplementals. Once you approve everything, we're going to autograph it, notarize it, and mail it off to the county to be recorded. Otero County records, and then they forward on to you. And within about 3 weeks, I like to tell my buyers about 3 weeks from start to finish. By the time that you put down money to the time that that deed is in your hand, that takes about 3 weeks. Practically speaking, however, we own all these lots, and once you give us money, as far as we are concerned, you are the new owner. Go out there, knock your socks off, do whatever you like, begin building, begin planning, begin camping, hanging out, begin pestering the Water and Sanitation District with questions about water lines. Whatever your little heart desires. Whatever the case, this is the crash course on Timberon. Again, guys, they've got an incredibly informative website that can do a lot more justice, a lot more benefit, and answer a lot more questions than I can about these things. So we always recommend to our buyers, particularly in a region like this where they actually provide as much information as this website does, reach out to these people, talk to them. If you need clarification, if you want to learn more, this is ultimately going to be your best resource. Whatever the case, guys, thanks for watching. Much appreciated as always. Hope one of these many Timberon properties is to your liking, and we will see you in the next video.